Whatever we say in this podcast is a joke. Please don't take it personal. Welcome to the Dave Titan Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Elsie, and I am joined with my lovely, beautiful, talented best friends, Akayla and Donna.
What's poppin'?
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing very well. I'm very tired. The sun is draining me, but it's a beautiful day outside, and I feel great.
Perfect.
And can we introduce our guest?
I wanted to do that.
You may do.
Okay. So today we have two talented girls. They're amazing. I love them. And I hope they love me. And if they don't, probably will cry. Angela and Abby.
Yeah.
Up, guys.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm chilling. I woke up. I wasn't actually gonna come. Initially I had texted Akayla.
I'm kidding.
I texted Akayla and I was like, so when we doing this podcast? And she said at 11 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, okay, well.
Well, yeah, because I got things to do throughout the day, Bookie. So
Yeah, so I was like, we'll see what we do. And then I was really lonely, so then I decided to come. So, yeah.
Don't be lonely.
Angela, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's my first time on a show, so I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Love that. So today we are going to get into the topic of mental health and how it affects different generations. But
No.
before we do that, just the no. Before we do that, we are going to do an icebreaker question. And this icebreaker question is, who decides what's white?
What's white?
What's white? And, yeah.
What
Who
is right
decides-
and what's wrong?
Thank you.
Okay.
Let me
Do
start
you
off.
want to start? No, let's start with
the guest.
Okay, you're right. Angela.
You want to go, Abby? You want me to go?
I
keep
think
your
you
thought
could
in
go.
mind.
Okay. So that's a hard one because from my own standpoint, knowing what's right or wrong, it really is a personal choice. But like, I'm also a mom, as people can see. So teaching her what is right and wrong is very important. So it's like I'm also not deciding for myself, but I'm also deciding for my daughter. So it's a different outlook on that question.
I guess. That makes
Sorry.
sense.
Donna just looks very
No, because
surprised.
I was like, I just realized that like when you're a mom, you need like an actual like moral, like a really like strong moral.
Compass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's why. we
That's
love our
why.
mothers.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to be a
Period.
mom.
Me either.
You know, I everybody
But,
gets surprised. I want 4 kids, but that's besides the point.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I like minimum 3 or 2. Like I want at least 2
didn't know
kids. I really like kids.
Can I be the aunt? Like,
Yeah.
La comadre?
I'll be the
Her.
godmother.
That's what I just said. You could be. Each of you could
Oh.
be the godmother of different kids.
I'm not a
Okay.
bilingual queen, y'all.
Oh,
Oh.
as
Sorry.
you should. Okay, but okay. So I mean, I agree with Angela. Like, high key, it all depends. It depends, like what your morals are. I think because like it what is right or wrong. You decide, I guess, what is right or wrong, but.
do you really?
You do, but what is right or wrong to you it depends on your morals and your values, you know? Like with stealing, for example, like people can say stealing isn't wrong, but then other people can be like stealing is wrong. But it all depends on their morals and their values. Like
What
you
about
know,
like what about like Robin Hood, where like you steal from the rich to give to the poor? Like then
You
stealing
know,
is right.
yeah,
Sort of.
like that
Don't
type of thing. Like certain people are gonna be like, oh no, that's wrong. Like I guess like it all depends on you. I think it all depends on you, and it all depends on like your situation.
Y'all know what is so funny, girl?
Girl, it's like she's fighting to get the mic. She wants to
Did you want to say something?
Yes. I feel like your morals all depend, like it all depends of like what have you lived and like all your experience in life, and that's like how you like kind of build that. So technically I would say that it's not your choice, it's like the choice of what you have experienced.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it might be depending on the events and the situation. You know, like it can be on yourself, you know, what's right or what's wrong, but if like again going back to what I said before, like if someone has all this money and they don't help others with this money and you know it kind of becoming more of like a selfish thing, then in that situation it might be more right to give or push to have that money be put into something good, meaning people that don't have that money. And but then there's the other side of it where if the situation was turned where this person had this money and was helping all of these people out and then they get stolen from, then whatever that person did was wrong because this money is going towards something good. So I think it is on yourself, but it's also on the situation and events
In
that are
conclusion,
happening.
I need ice cream.
Me too. Oh
Yo,
my god. I've
Stop!
had ice cream in
Don't
so long.
even. But besides that, I was gonna say, like, right or wrong, I feel like it's really important. Like with Angela said, like teaching your kids like what right and wrong is. That's something that's like really important because rules and laws make for a civilized society. Like whether you follow them or not, like they really just help a lot with everything, like in life. I don't know, in schools and everything. I mean, sure, like there are like some like stupid ones, some out of pocket ones that are like, oh, like come on, like you know, and people who take advantage of authority. Like we all know what happened, you know, like during COVID years with like a bunch of like cops and stuff like that, taking advantage of their authority. We all know what happens with minorities and stuff like that. But like, but you know, I feel like it also is up to us to like follow some like basic like rules that should be common sense. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Period.
now getting into our actual topic,
Right.
because we were going like really like philosophical with this
We're not
question.
sure where Angela went, but I think she'll come
I
back.
am. She'll be back.
She'll be back.
I
She has a
hope.
kid, so,
So we gotta understand that.
Period. She's a mother.
She's a mother.
She's a mother.
her kid is so cute.
I know, Lord.
She's so adorable.
Anyways,
She's
so
she's our little bestie.
Yeah,
she is.
we should have her for again.
right.
She was like,
She would kill it.
No, she bumped me.
Our fourth member.
for real. Oh my god, yes.
Okay,
It
so
should be dead.
Yeah.
Dang.
into the topic.
Okay.
Our topic today is mental health. I feel like we've touched on it in other episodes a bit, but today, like, we're really like going into it. Like, it's really
We're gonna get deep.
Cold.
We're gonna get deep.
So
I'm always
She's back.
going deep.
the topic of our podcast. Sorry. The topic of our podcast today, or our episode today, is about mental health.
Yeah.
How it changed, like from generations.
I'm sorry. You know, I be zoning out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. We
I
can
mean,
see
I
it.
don't
I
like.
zone out
Let's. What if we do like a mental health, like in general,
Yeah.
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 like general mental health, right?
So we actually just touched on this a little while ago, but my first question for you and Angela is, how important is mental health to you?
Oh no, that was somebody outside.
My heart just dropped.
I think
don't
they
know-
were
I didn't know
listening to
what
J.
that
Cole,
was.
as they should though.
I thought that was Kanye.
Oh wait, maybe it was
Flashing
Kanye.
lights.
It was
Flashing
lights.
lights.
Apartment.
Yeah.
I wish
Okay.
I could rap.
Question.
I love J. Cole.
Would
Her.
you like to answer this one first? Or?
So for me, I want to say over the course of my life, mental health has changed. When I was 17, mental health was not a big thing. It wasn't a big thing that was spoken about. Like we were aware of it. Yeah, we knew there was psychologists around. Like we knew there were people to help us, but it was more of it wasn't something that was nurtured. It was more of like a weakness versus something than a strength. Compared to now where I am way more aware of my mental health and the mental health of not just me, but my husband, my daughter, like everyone around me, and how that's so important. So like as like an adult now versus when I was a kid, like it's definitely a lot different.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Like talking in terms of generations, right?
Yes.
Like how the question was, how important is mental health to you? So
Yeah, that was the question.
So, I mean, for me, mental health, well, clearly, for people who know me and are close to me, like, it is a very important thing for me. Like, I mean, I still, like, I don't want to say struggle with, well, I mean, like, I still have to deal with it every single day. You know, like, it's something that I go through every day. But one thing that, like, I don't like to bring it up as much as I used to anymore, though, because one thing that I don't like to allow myself to do anymore is put myself in that box. Because I realize this is what a lot of people do, is they're like, oh, I have depression, and then they put themselves in that box. And then they don't allow themselves to climb further because of the fact that they have depression, or they let that label, you know, like, impede on their life.
I to add to that, I feel like it can sometimes become an excuse.
Yes, exactly. It could be an excuse, and I feel like for a long time in my life, I've used my depression as an excuse to get out of things, and I feel like, and so like that's why now, like, I mean, it's something that I've been working on for like a very long time now, and that's why like I don't really like, I don't do that anymore. I don't bring it up. I don't like, I don't. I've grown. I don't. Mental health is important to me, but in its own way.
I was gonna say something and I forgot, but
I feel like, okay, can I go?
yeah.
I feel like mental health is something really important. However, it wasn't in my like prior things, you know, it wasn't like in my top like list. It was a mistake because apparently like mental health is really important, and I found out in the wrong way. But I feel like what I always try to do is I have put myself into a point that I'm like, I'm just not gonna allow other people to or other situations to affect me really, really bad to a point that I cannot help myself. So that's what I try to do. It's a really hard because it's like you always need a balance for that, and having a balance is always going to be hard, and it doesn't matter in what. So it has become something really important, really. Sometimes it could be kind of stressful, but at the end, I know it's worth it.
I think, well, I guess, can I go?
Yeah.
My mental health is important to me because it's not only, it doesn't just affect me. Like, if it affects me and, you know, it's something that I'm going through it's also something that my mom is now getting the effects of. My sister is getting the effects of. I mean, my dad. There's people around me that are affected, and they may not have it, but, you know, it could end up adding more stress and anxiety to them, knowing that that's what I have. And I can't speak from a parent's perspective, but from what, you know, I've been told from my parents and, you know, parents of friends that, you know, their parents have talked to them, like, it can be, it hurts them to see their child like that sometimes. And it's not like it's a bad thing, you know, it's there, but you have to figure out how to get around it. You can't just, again, like what Abby was saying before, like, you can't let it be the excuse. You can't let that take over your life. And so it's important for me and mental health is important to me because it's gonna not only keep me up but my family as well. And that way, in a circle, we support each other.
Per.
Makes sense.
We are going to take a quick break, so we will be right back.
Yay.
We're back.
Yay.
Hey. So we were talking about how important mental health is to us. For me, I think I feel like I took like the time to really figure out like what mental health is and what it is to me and try to take care of myself in that way. And I feel like that time was like in recent times, like this past year. I feel like I've done the most in terms of taking care. I've done the most in terms of taking care of myself mentally, especially being after COVID, because I feel like that's when everybody was just like we were all very dysfunctional from being in the house and watching everything that was happening on social media during that time.
Honestly, I don't remember quarantine. Like, thank
You
God.
don't remember?
No.
No, me neither. Honestly,
I remember, like, I liked being in the house, but I also didn't like being in the house. I just didn't like having to sit in my room all day. But, like,
Yeah, I remember like the first 2 weeks. Then I just don't remember what happened.
yeah. But, yeah, I feel like that was the time that I was, like, that I was really struggling. And finally being out of the house and going on more walks and listening to music, and like I really love being outside. I found that I found that I really like nature. Although like these bugs are killing me. These bugs. Oh, but other than that,
Don't you have allergies?
I do have allergies, which is like so crazy. Like I was like I literally walked into school like and I looked sick. Like Donna saw me. Like I looked sick. But
this
I-
morning.
no, not
now?
this morning, but it
Oh.
was like the other day.
Uh-oh.
I
Yeah.
can definitely see what you mean, like with the nature and stuff, like helping with your mental health. Because you go into stores where they're like, where you're talking about your mental health and what will help you, and it's like, oh, like getting greens, getting plants, doing some like those little candle things that you light and like
Right.
the scents. The
If one day you feel bad,
incense.
just
Mhm.
hug a tree.
And
Exactly.
Hug a tree.
so
There you
like
go.
I kissed a tree once. It was a dare.
All right, Abby.
It was a dare. Okay.
so just seeing that, like, you know, we've had
Careless
these
whisper in
things
the
that were
background.
said to help us with our mental health, and then seeing that Kayla actually like
Okay.
experiences that, and like it's like pretty much true.
Right.
Like it does help you, and it can be such
Yeah,
a beautiful
it's something
thing.
as simple as just walking outside
Yeah.
and sitting and maybe drawing or you know doing something that like can really help you, like that's therapeutic to you.
And going back to the excuses, like using depression as an excuse, like it might be such a challenge for them, but just going for that walk just once
Right.
can help you in so many ways. And like it's not like you have to drive somewhere to go get this help. No, it's literally right outside your
Right.
door.
Just for a walk in your backyard. But Donna, you had a question.
Yes. So Elsie was talking about how their
Parents.
how like her mental health kind of affects like their loved ones. So right now we have here Angela. She's a mother, as we can see.
She's a mother.
She's a mother. And so my question is, how will you react if like your daughter has like some type of like social media
Social media.
Social media, yeah.
mental health problems?
Clearly
As
she
we
has a
can
problem
see.
right now.
Mental health is not exclusive to teenagers. It is it can be even in a toddler. So like even she's only 4, like I'm already experiencing it. It's acknowledging it as well, because like even at this young age, she's experiencing social anxiety. She experiences separation anxiety. And it's just it's understanding what she's feeling and letting her try, like even at a young age, try to verbalize it and really listening to what she has to say. and just acknowledging it and seeing how we can help and what we can do to help mitigate and try to make her feel whole, and that she's heard. So that's really big, is just like keeping my ears open and listening to what she has to say, even at a young age, and opening that door now. So when she is a teenager and older, that she feels comfortable coming to me instead of feeling that she has to hide, like, and not thinking that it's a bad thing like I had to do when I was a teenager. So it's like creating that bond now while she's young, when the problems aren't so big, even though they feel earth-shattering at her age. It's really just building that bridge, so when she's older, she knows she has support.
I
Sorry.
sorry, can I just add to that?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, like, you know how you say you see this in your child now, but people are like, oh, like it happens to like every child, like when leaving for school, when being away from their mother at such a young age, like it's normal. But you don't see like when they get older, you know, going into even relationships, like, you know, just a relationship without their mother being there, you know, with someone else, that separation anxiety can, like, if it's not like treated or helped, if they don't get help for that,
Yeah, if they're not given the tools.
yes, then you can see that, and you can see it later on in their relationships in life. Like it's still there. So it's not just children being away from their mothers.
Well, sorry, I got caught up in this little paper thing. But as a child who grew up with a mom who, I'm literally, okay, I'm identical to my mom. Anybody who's seen my mom knows that I act just like her. I basically kind of talk like her, you know, like we're literally identical. And a lot of aspects of our lives have been the same. And the thing is, she grew up in Ecuador, a third world country, in El Campo, which is like, you know, like a ranch type thing where it was cold and she had to like take care of cows with an abusive grandmother. She didn't have her parents there, right? My grandparents were here in the U.S. in California. So, you know, like that took a big toll on her. She was always the biggest out of everyone, and you know, like and she suffered from depression, anxiety, and an eating disorder, and I suffer from all three of those things too. You know, and I think one thing, a big reason why I still suffer from them, and I suffered from them when I was little, and why it got to such a big point that I was hospitalized for it, was because the fact that nobody was there to help her. And so this is kind of bringing it back to that generational like mental health thing. Nobody was there to help her, and so what happened was that she what's that thing? She kind of like forgot about it. That's what I mean. Like she didn't really know how to deal with it. So whenever like I would go up to her and be like, "Hey, like this is kind of what's happening to me," she'd be like, "No, it's not. What do you mean? I went through the same thing. Like I'm like 48 now. Like you can reach 48." I'm like, yeah, but not happily."
Right.
You know, not fine. And I don't know, like she's just like a warrior. I don't even know how she's gotten through all of that without therapy. But like, oh, sorry.
I think that's part of the generational difference in mental health.
Yeah.
Your parents, my parents, like they saw mental health in a very different light. It was not something to acknowledge and work through. It was something to push through and just get it done over with.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of on that border where it's like mental health when I was really young into my teenage years, it was a weakness. It was something where you needed to like push through, get through, and if you showed your emotion, you were soft.
Yeah.
Versus now where it's more acceptable, you get help, and it's more social norm.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of goes to that generational piece of mental health and understanding it.
Yeah. And you know, like she's still like she of course clearly since I have been hospitalized, she took into consideration like my feelings and what has been happening. She really didn't understand until the doctors were like, "Hey, your daughter is going through something and, you know, like this is real. This is happening. This has been happening to many other people." And so that's when she really like started to take into account. She started to, because the same thing happened to my brother. He's like 25 now, and he he had to go through all of it alone. He had to go through therapy alone. He had to put himself through therapy. He had to man up and do all this alone. He had to push through. He grew up in the MySpace years. He grew up through all that. And my mom still like she's like, "Here, take your medicine. Like, here, do this." Like, she understands like that I have this, but she doesn't want to see it. Like, it's like, uh like what, like, don't, it's almost as if she doesn't want me to have friends because she knows that I involve myself so much, like I give my all, that she she doesn't want me to like make one wrong move and then all of a sudden like I'm depressed again. Like, that's like her thing. Like, she's like, "Oh, like you're going to be depressed again." Or, "Oh, like you're going to be this again." Or I'm having a bad day and she's like, "Oh, like what? Like, are you having a depressive episode? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening?" And it's like I can't have a singular bad day without her thinking that like I'm back to square one where I used to be. It's been 2 years since the hospitalization. Like, it's not like, but it's still like, you know, it's still a constant battle, and where I can't show that I'm mentally like, I am okay. I am better now, but I'm still not that well. Like,
You're not 100%.
I'm not
Right.
100%. Like, I'm like 80% there, you could say. You know what I
Fair.
mean?
That's good.
But it's still like not enough for her, and it's still like that 20% I'm not able to show. And I think like that's one thing that I really like praise Angela for, like, and I'm really glad that, you know, like she's able to grow up in a household where she can just go up to, you know, her mom and be like, "Hey, like, I'm having a bad day, or this is what's happening, and I really need a shoulder to cry on. Thank you for being here with me."
It reminds me of my mom. Literally, we have a word, and it's like we say like we're having a mushy day, and that means like it's just one of those days.
Yeah.
I feel like what you were saying about like you cannot have like a bad day and your mom think. I feel like that's a lot of like our culture, like
Latina
Latino
moms.
cultures. Like my family has been struggle with like depression for like generations. Like, I know I have depression. I know my sister has depression. I know my mom has or had depression. I know at some point my grandma had depression. So it's something that like it's always like there. And I feel like my parents are always like trying to help us, like me and my sister, but they just really don't know how. And one time I was just like really mad because I was like, they just don't get it. Like, I want to go to therapy. I need this and I need that. And my sister told me something that I probably will never forget. That she say, "You gotta understand that they don't know that. They don't know that. Even they try to understand it, but they were raised in another situations. But they're trying to help you how they were learned to. They're trying to help you, and I get it, and I'm really glad that at some point like I heard that, because now I can like acknowledge that my parents like weren't like these like bad, like the bad guy in the situation.
People, yeah.
The bad guy was just their society. They just never teach them how to deal with like mental health.
Right. And did you finish what you were saying?
Well, I was gonna say a thing, but you can go.
Finishing like to continue what Abby was saying about like her mom not wanting to be able, like not wanting to see it, I guess it could also be the fact that like a lot of parents don't want to see their children going through that, especially
yeah.
being that they went through the same thing at that time, and they just didn't know how to deal with it. Like, I could imagine how much it hurts to see your child like struggle through the things that you especially went through personally.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
That I understand. I'm
I-
sorry, Donna.
There's also another component where like someone may not have experienced it, but they evolved with the world and can understand it, learn to
Yeah.
understand it. Because like what you were saying, like us Latinos, like or Latinas, my mom is Latina as well.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
came from Mexico, but she evolved. She understood what was going on. No one taught it to her.
Learned
She
it.
was able to accept it and understand it, and then eventually help me.
Yeah.
So it definitely also depends on the person, like how much they're
Yeah.
willing
Yeah,
to put
of
in
course,
to
like,
understand it.
That's so true.
it all depends on like how like the person has like evolved, and
Yeah.
it all
it's-
depends on the
It
situation.
all depends on like the will, because and like the will and like and it all depends on like the
Yeah.
situation. Like my mom, she's lived in like in New York for more than 20 years and she still can't speak fluent English. Like she can speak enough to get her by to work in her job. She works at the Chico's, pull up, but she works at the deli. Like, so she, of course, like she needs to be like, oh, what you want, cracker pepper, like whatever, like, but like there's certain things like that. For a long time, like I couldn't have like consistent friends because of the fact that like she couldn't speak English, like or stuff like that, and that's why like the fact that she's trying to learn this stuff about mental health, like I really appreciate it, because it's like, okay, like at least she's trying, because I can see that she's trying. She put herself in therapy so she can better help me and my living situation, because now it's just us. It used to be me, her, and my brothers, but now it's just us. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, also like with my parents, I know like they have learned a lot. They were like really really religious. Now they're like opening their minds, and they have become to like this like spiritual, that they still believe in God, but they are not like around like these like box, like this structure of like religious thing, and this has to be like that. And if you're sad, just pray God and he's gonna like, and that's not how it works. And sometimes I just like, I have been struggle with mental health for like 3 years, and the thing is just like I have never been thought of how to express my feelings to my family. I grew up with babysitters. I grew up with like alone. Like when I was like 6 years old, I was like in school to like 7 to 4, and then I went to like either swimming or like stuff like that, and I just get to home to sleep. So I never actually became like really close to my family, and they never actually taught me how to express my feelings to them, and it has become a really really hard thing. Like I'm not able to go with my parents and say like, hey, I'm feeling bad or stuff like that, because I don't see them like my parents. I see them more like my mentors. Like they always have put themselves as like a mentor, so I see them as a mentor but not as a parent. And sometimes I feel like I need a parent, and I'm not able to have it. And that's something that's still like, it keeps like in my head, and I'm trying to like express it, but it's just like I can't. And that's something I feel like I'm working a lot in therapy. And one day we're gonna be able.
It can be like a really long journey. It's not like
Yeah.
you're gonna be worse and then you're gonna get better. Like when I was
It goes up and down.
12, I
Literally
was
like this.
when I was 12, it was like it was iffy. And then I went to therapy and I felt like I got better. And then within a year, it went straight down. And then I still haven't lived the rest of my life, but so far, what I've lived, I feel like I've experienced, from the life that I have lived so far, there's been a point, like the worst point that I've been at. And it was like, I really thought like after that year, like that when I was like 13, 14, I was going to be fine. And then it didn't. It went back down, and it went back down worse. And now I'm getting help. Now I'm getting better, but it doesn't mean like this is like the end. You always, it's like you guys were saying, it's always going to be there. You might always have to be pushing yourself, but you can't give up on that.
Right.
And also, it's like it's not gonna be forever. It could be, but it's not. You gotta think positive in this type of thing.
I have a 2-second quote. I'm so sorry. I know that the time we're literally like time is running out. It needs to get worse to get better. Like a lot of things in life will get worse and then they will get better. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Best quote.
2 seconds, and then I promise we're done. It seems like it does seem like it's very common amongst just POC groups in general. Like, I feel like, especially in the Black community, like it's also like that, where it's like people were just expected to. Like, I don't know if you ever heard like the stereotype of like the strong Black woman or the strong Black man, where we're just always supposed to
I've
just.
heard of the angry Black women.
Where we're just always supposed to like just take everything that comes at us, and I feel like it's especially with Caribbean families as well. And I'm very grateful that my mom, like, she knew that like mental health was still a thing before she even had me and my brother, and she was like very nurturing and caring and willing to listen to me whenever I had something. But that's all I have to say. We're done.
I love Akela's mom. Like,
Mama Akela.
Oh my
Can I
God.
just say, like,
Mommy,
I feel
I
like
love you.
I love you. Okay.
We love our mom. But can I just say,
I
like,
also
I
love
feel like
Elsie's mom.
people need to, everyone
Yeah.
loves my mom is amazing. That this was, I feel like it was kind of like an interesting episode, but it was also tough on us, like being able to talk about this.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
like
proud of
I've
us.
seen all you guys literally fidgeting with so many things we're talking. Like, this is such like an impactful podcast.
Thank you, Angela, for being such an amazing mom.
I love you, Angela.
Like, oh my God.
She's a mother. Sorry, I promise I'm done.
And to our
Okay.
little bestie down there. And
oh, I was gonna say. You wanna say bye?
she disappeared.
You wanna say bye?
Bye.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to O Radio. We put the O in radio. Make sure to follow us on social media at O Radio OHS on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And make sure to follow our podcast at the Daytime Podcast on Instagram.
Do I get a plug for my Instagram?
Yeah, Abby.
Go follow Bananas Milk. No, Bananas _milk.